very good afternoon and welcome back to Oslo. For the first time in these championships, the sun is out, and the sun has very much been shining on the French, who've already clocked up 5 gold medals from the 7 races that have taken place so far. Total domination on their part. Oslo, of course, the host city for the 2016 Biathlon World Championships, right at the head of the Oslo field, and for the first time today we can see it. It is a stunning view. This is one of the winter sports stadiums in the world, there's no doubt about that, and so many people regretful that the Olympics in 22 are not going to be held in Oslo. They withdrew from the bidding process fairly early on, but it would have been an unbelievable occasion. Well, the women's relay is being run today. Russia and Norway have been dominant over the years. Germany, I think, the #1 nation. 5 of the last 7 major titles in the women's relay have gone to the Germans. And on paper, they look stronger than anyone else today. A couple of teams missing from that list, Mike. The Czech Republic, of course, and France, both of whom have medalled, and Ukraine also have medalled a lot, but never won this relay. And the French with 6 silver medals. Are they going to use this good form and the good spirit that they have to secure the relay gold today? Well, the German team are, as I say, the strongest by a long way on paper. 5 of the last 7 World Championship titles have gone to them, and they've been on the podium of every race so far this season, but they have yet to win. They came close in Ruhpolding, very close. Dalmar just outwitted in the final meters on that occasion. Franziska Preuss will be leading off. She says normally it's the other Franzi who leads away, referring to Hildebrand, saying, I'm a little bit faster in the shooting. I'm a little more confident with the shooting. I don't ski as well as she does, but they want someone who shoots well, shoots fast on the first leg. She says she's really happy with the way things have gone so far at these championships. So confidence very high from Franziska Preuss. Well, Franzi Hildebrand goes second, and a lot of pressure on her shoulders. Yeah, the relay's really special, says Hildebrand. You're fighting not just for yourself, but for the team as well. And she says she's always nervous before the relay, something that she's not been able to deal with. We'll see how she gets on. Hammerschmidt, the new girl, certainly new experience for her being included in the German relay team. And she goes in that all-important 3rd leg. She's young, she's fresh. We'll see what she can do. Definitely looking forward to my first ever relay World Championship, says Hammerschmidt. A little bit nervous, and it's not going to get any easier before the start of the race. But she's happy with the way she's been performing so far. Shot pretty well in the individual. So no reason to be too nervous. As for Laura Dalmar, well, she takes the final leg. 3 individual races so far at these championships. She has 3 medals, including 1 gold. We've got a great team, says Dalmar. 4 of us can certainly perform. Says it's a tough competition. There are a lot of strong teams out there, and on the tactical side, we don't really have a master plan. We just see how it goes, and it's all about getting the best out of each of the 4 team members. Well, Germany's certainly the hot favourites on paper. Watch out for the French. They've been on a brilliant roll. 5 gold medals already from 7 events. And I guess Norway, as the host nation, you have to keep half an eye on them. They're quick enough. The Czech Republic also have a chance of taking gold. So a rough lineup there, Mike. Can anyone beat Germany?
I think when you look on paper that Dalmar can take 14, 15 seconds out of the opposition on the last leg, I think it's unlikely, but it all depends on how the teams shoot.
But what order do you put your runners in? Well, here's Raphael Poré to give us a little bit of insight into how you choose where to race each of the team members. So just moments to go before the start of the women's 4x6 kilometre relay. Interesting stuff from Raphael Poiret. We'll discuss that once the race gets underway. Only since 2003 have they run the 4x6 configuration. Used to be 3x7.5, then it was 4x7.5, just like the men. And they get underway. The best teams at the front of the rankings. Germany, certainly you have to watch out for. They are wearing bib number 4, having not won a relay so far this year. Ukraine wearing 1, Italy 2, the Czech Republic 3, and Germany 4. France, many people's favourite, 5 with Justine Brézard on the first leg, and then Russia, team 6. Well, alongside myself is Mike Dixon. Mike, another great race. Fantastic to have the sun out, and it's brought that sort of special Holmenkollen atmosphere with it. Interesting to hear Raphael. I didn't quite get, there was one bit I didn't understand. Did he say the first leg is nuts, they go very fast, or did he say the first leg is not so very fast?
Well, I think he's got it wrong. He said the first leg is not so very fast, so you put your slowest skier, but one of your best shots. And I think that certainly fits for the German team and for the French team, with Brézard, the 19-year-old, taking the first leg. His analysis, so looking at the third leg, they're saying they're putting the weakest athlete, or the one with the least chance of pulling out something special, an Ace Chevalier, and that is exactly what the French team have done. I was surprised they haven't put her in second place, and then of course using Péchon, who's on incredible form, in third, with Dorana Bear in fourth. So I'm surprised they haven't done it that way.
Well, I guess the argument is it easier to catch up on the third leg if you're behind, or is it easier to hold on to a lead if you've put your better athletes early on? Most teams just do not want to lose sight of the first position, and therefore they don't put anyone too weak on the second leg.
Well, that is the theory, isn't it? You need to be in it to win it, and if you lose 35, 40 seconds for the last 2 trump cards, it's a huge amount of pressure, added pressure, where they have to catch up this time, take themselves into an uncomfortable position for the shooting. So there goes the French theory, and that's exactly how they played it today.
It's a very difficult decision, isn't it? And we've seen on many occasions teams being out front, but then finding there is added pressure with leading a race of this nature, simply because you're wondering, you're so aware that one missed shot can do so much damage to your lead.
It's critical, isn't it? And that's where Maren Hammerschmidt, we heard in the interview there, she said she's incredibly nervous. First time out at a World Championships. It's a big day for her, and she's taking third leg when the race builds up to even more pressure.
Well, it's only a 2-kilometre loop in between the start and the shoot, so it will take well under 6 minutes to complete in these conditions. The snow getting a little bit damp with the sunshine that is very warm now, and it was quick this morning, certainly slowing as the race goes on, and then if the temperature drops towards the end of this race, the last lap skiers, it could be very fast, and that's something that you want to consider. You want your strongest when the conditions are hardest, because that's when they can get most of a lead.
I totally agree with that, but this track makes it, I think, much easier for the less good athletes to stick with the best athletes. It's not the most testing of tracks, as they have raced on many, many testing tracks here, but 2-kilometre loop is the easiest.
Well, a lot of teams have put their best runners first. If you look from Team 10 all the way down to 20, they've all put their best runner first. Selina Gasparin goes for Switzerland, Susan Dunkley for the USA, Hauser for Austria, Tafalfi for Romania, and Julia Ransom, who had a sensational run in the women's individual yesterday, finishing in 20th position, hitting all 20 targets. It was a tremendous performance from her.
There's been a lot of talk, Patrick, about the exceptional skis the French team have been riding on, the preparation of the skis. And again, Justine Brézard, she came from 4th to 1st on that previous descent. So that always makes such a difference when you're on great skis.
Well, we didn't get too much of an opportunity to introduce the teams before the start of this race. Ukraine wearing 1. They are, of course, the Olympic champions. So what can they do today? They haven't won a World Championship title, though, although they've got 4 silvers, 3 bronze. Italy wearing 2. They won the first relay this season. That was their first ever relay victory, and certainly they will be trying to remember that occasion. The Czech Republic wearing 3. Well, they're the 2015 World Champions. They won in Presque Isle, which was the last of the relays on the World Cup Tour. Germany wearing 4. They're the current World Champions, and they're the best on paper in terms of ski speed and shooting. So it's difficult to put money on anyone else. France 5, the silver medalists in the World Championships last year. Russia 6, the silver medalist in the Olympics back in 2014. Those are the top 6 teams. The winner expected to come from their number, but Poland, number 7, certainly had the potential to do well.
Scardino first into the range for Belarus. That's unexpected. She's not normally the fastest skier.
The cheer from the crowd is for Solemdal, who is shooting at the Norwegian targets. Well, I hope she is, being a Norwegian. 4 down already out of 5. 5 out of 5. Great start from Solemdal, and that will take the pressure off the Norwegians. So often they make mistakes at this stage. Germany get away quickly as expected. Mistakes from France, and Brazar Mike has cracked under the pressure. 2 misses, 2 targets left, only 3 rounds remaining.
That's a big surprise. She came into the range in 2nd position.
And what about Gasparin?
We've seen that a number of times from Gasparin this season. She's lost that amazing ability she had to hit 5 out of 5 so regular. She's lost that spark.
I just wonder whether she was skiing too fast. So a penalty loop for Gasparin on the very first shoot, and this is France. Their run of success could well come to an end if this doesn't go down. It does go down. A sigh of relief. Well, they haven't had to deal with too many problems so far, but that is going to be a real test for the coaching team to keep the spirits of the remaining team up.
Oh, that's the biggest surprise. The worst start the French team could possibly have had.
Yeah, and the best start Germany could possibly have had. They're leading, and their main rivals are way behind. The top 12 teams all going clear. In fact, Hauser of Austria missing 1, so 11 of the top 12 clear. Also Zhang of China shooting clear, but losing 27 seconds in terms of drills. She was with the group coming into the range, so a big loss for her. But Preutz was the first out of the range. Team 22 starting well. Yuku Takizaki, another team that have put their best first, trying to stay with the leaders for as long as possible. No surprise to see Susan Dunkley leading the way. What a tremendous season the Americans had, Mike. I just hope that she doesn't go on in her career like Tim Burke, who never really has got to grips with the standing shoot, particularly the final standing shoot. Is that Fialkova going down?
Oh, a bit of a tangle, and that's going to lose Fialkova. I think it is Fialkova.
Paulinas Fialkova, that is, and she has taken
a lot of people with her.
Absolutely sure who she's taken with her.
Let's have a look. It is a tight corner, this.
Yeah, Fialkova, though, trying to cut it far too fine. She's taken the Russians. That's Akimova. She's taken down. She's disrupted Lisa Vitozzi of Italy. And Fialkova, I'm afraid, on that occasion, is to blame. If you did that in a cycle race, you wouldn't make many friends.
And actually, if you did that in a cross-country race, you would be given a yellow card. If you make another mistake, you would be disqualified. So it's not quite the case in biathlon, but she was definitely in the wrong there.
So Dunkley back down towards the... or under the road, a little climb up around the back of the spectators' hill before she comes into the stadium. This is one of the fastest bits of the course. It doesn't look particularly quick, but the other day when it was a little dry, a little bit colder, they were clocking up to 55, 60 kilometers an hour on that section alone.
And I think it does allow the less strong athletes that 30-second recovery. It gives everyone the the recovery that is so badly needed halfway around this track.
Well, great to see the fans here. I know it's only Friday afternoon as we see a little burst coming in from no one other than Kaisa Mäkäräinen of Finland. This is just what she needs, Mike, to raise those spirits before the mass start.
I think
that's her only chance now.
It's a real pity. Major championships, she seems to melt. She's at a 9th, a 7th, a 19th. She is a lot better than that when we look at World Cup racing.
Yeah, massive great Union Jack flying in the woods. Sadly, no British team. Amanda Lightfoot, the only British female on the tour this year. Hopefully, in years to come, we'll get the standard up and the interest. Here we go with Mäkäräinen. A little burst that really has put Susan Dunkley in her place. But Mike, how much are you going to put on Mäkäräinen missing targets on this second shoot?
Well, I think, as you said, it hasn't gone the way that she would have liked it to have done the first 3 races. So now she's only got the mass start on today, and with the 3 spare rounds, I think Mäkäräinen will take some risk here, and we'll see something of her former self on the range. She bought herself a couple of seconds, not much, but she's also bought herself the opportunity to go all the way down to lane 1. It's an open range now. You had to stick to your numbers, your bib numbers, first time in.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you want to know how Mäkäräinen has done. We haven't seen too much of her because she hasn't been up the front of the field in any of the races. 9th in the sprint, 7th in the pursuit despite missing 4, and then 19th in the individual. Franziska Preutz alongside Mäkäräinen. The yellow flashes on the graphic on the right-hand side indicating misses. Remember, they have 3 spare rounds with which to hit the targets. Solemdal's having a sensational day. 10 out of 10 for her. Hauser clears all the targets. Ukraine have gone clear as well. Great start for the Ukrainians, ranked number 1. And Via Simorenko with her best performance, her only good performance of these championships so far.
That's brilliant. Mäkäräinen, 5 out of 5. Something of her old positive self back there.
So Austria leading, 2.8 ahead of Ukraine. Norway with Solemdal at 3.2. Can she find some of the ski form that she has had in the past, but hasn't shown now for, what, 2.5 seasons? Takizaki of Japan, well done to her. She's done this a number of times this season, made a real impression, and Mäkäräinen paying the price for not being patient enough.
Can you believe France coming into the range 42 seconds behind, and that's put Breza under huge pressure.
3 rounds, 2 targets for France. They have a fantastic team. Bescon, Chevalier, Duran, Hebert. France have already equalled their record medal tally at the championships of 8. They did that, I'm trying to think, they did that in Ruhpolding, and I think they did it in Hogfilsen back in 2000, or in 95 actually they did it in Hogfilsen, largely thanks to Raphael Poiret. But it's not going their way. You can't have all the luck in a championships.
No, you can't. Look at Norway, 3rd. I talked to so many people this morning. They said they've no chance. And I said, well, when you've got spare rounds, you've always got a good chance.
Birkeland, Eckhoff and Olsbu making up the Norwegian team. Good work from Mäkäräinen to get herself back into the lead. Going ahead of Hauser of Austria. Austria 11th in the World Championship relay last year, missing 9 targets in all. They've had a much better start this time round. Teams to have shot the perfect score so far. Ukraine and Norway and Japan and Kazakhstan. The USA missing 2 on the second shoot. Susan Dunkley, that's why she's lost a little bit of ground. So Germany with Franziska Preutz just rounding the corner, 28.5 seconds given away, but crucially, Mike, there aren't many teams apart from Ukraine ahead of Germany who have strength in depth and are likely to challenge later on.
Yes, a real chance for Germany to come back. What about France, though? Who would have predicted 20th position after the second shoot and 1 minute 2 seconds behind? A lot of work to do there.
It's still doable, knowing the French, and with Durand-Hébert on the last lap. But they've almost, with that margin of a minute, Mike, they've got to hope that Germany start to miss targets. And that's not something that happens so often. Although this season, the reason they haven't won a relay is because one of the team has always messed up on the range on one shoot.
That is so true, but now we've got in the French situation, an Ace Bichon, great form here, second place in the individual, skiing very fast in the previous two. She's going to absolutely have to give her best to try and pull this time back, and I think that might have put her under pressure on the range.
Mäkäräinen, another burst. I'm just wondering whether she would have been better to save all her energy for the last lap and just focus a little more on that second shoot. But actually, having said that, she didn't miss any targets. She just took a long time to settle before she let the rounds go.
But I think the positivity here, Mäkäräinen will look tonight and after this race thinking, I've got my shooting back, didn't need any spare rounds, and I think she'll be setting herself up nicely for the mass start on Sunday.
And the good news for her is she's got 48 hours, or just under, she's got about 45 hours to rest and prepare for the last women's event of these championships. The mass start on Sunday, and incidentally it starts at 1 o'clock local time, so if you're watching in the UK, a midday start for the women's mass start, and the men going off at 4 o'clock local time on Sunday afternoon. These fans will all get back again, there's no doubt about that. So the first exchange, the first leg nearly complete. Finland leading the way. Good skiing from Mäkäräinen. Hauser of Austria is up there. Solemdal hasn't given away too much time, Mike. I think this is one of the best performances from Solemdal all season.
It is, and you look at what she's done here. Her best has been 24th at these championships. She's absolutely raised her game, and her shooting didn't use any spare rounds. Perfect shooting. I think that's what the Norwegian team needed on paper. Well, they're ranked 12th. It speaks for itself. They needed a bit of magic today, and I think they might have found it.
Mäkäräinen will be handing over to Kiskela. The Austrians have Stuch on the second leg, Schweiger and Hoffmann on the third and fourth. Norway, well, they've got a strong team, the Norwegians, but the second leg is the one where there's a little bit of a question mark. Fanny Horn Birkeland, she was in great form and actually ran a really good relay on the opening day of the season. Won the mixed relay in Östersund, the very first day of this season, and she'll get a good start. Japan in second place, and well done Takizaki. She has impressed many this year. She just needs another 3 teammates at her level, and then Japan would be a threat. Norway in 4th, 13 behind. Kazakhstan 5, 6 Ukraine, the first of the really big teams, just a fraction of a second ahead of Germany, who've made a little bit of a recovery on that last lap with, of course, Franziska Preuss handing over to the other Franzi, as she said, Franziska Hildebrand, who's generally very solid with the rifle. And Hildebrand's races this championships, Mike, 10th, 4th and 6th. That's a good record.
It's a fantastic record, and without doubt, reliable. Just thinking the first team, Mäkäräinen handing over to Kiskela, so inexperienced, only one World Cup outing.
Italy, a long way back, the Italians. Vitozzi handing over to Karin Oberhofer. Lisa Vitozzi was obstructed by the Slovakians, Paulina Fialkova, on that second lap. There go France, over a minute behind, and it is time to go into overdrive. And Ace Bichon is capable of doing that. The silver medal from the individual. It was a tremendous performance. Again, Mike, just one shot costing her the gold.
As she said, she couldn't but think about it, skiing around for her last shoot, and I think she did so well to only miss one. And, 5 seconds behind the gold medal. Well, Kiskela, she must have gone through the routine, the thoughts in her mind last night, and expectations would have been that she could be handed over to in first position.
I absolutely agree. I think She probably thought it was more than likely that that was going to be the case. Japan still there. Yuri Tanaka for Japan. Team 12, just behind them, Norway with Fanny Birkeland. Look at that, good position for them.
Look at the numbers, Patrick. 21 Finland, 22 Japan, 15 Austria, 12 Norway, and 10 Kazakhstan. The pressure on the big teams always, for me, make a big difference at World Championships. Expectations.
But remember what we said early on.
They will come
Those
back.
teams from 10 onwards have put their best runner first. None of the big teams have put their best runner first. They've saved them for the anchor.
They have, and they need that. The big teams need that. And I think you have to play your strong cards early if you're ranked further down the ranking to stay in the race.
Dreisegger, she'll be a bit disappointed to be down in 10th. Just looking at the American shooting, 0-2, yeah, we did mention. Dunkley missing 2 on the stand. Julie Ransom missed 1 on each, having shot perfect in the individual, so that's a bit disappointing for her. But I think she's got a great future, Ransom, and will be delighted to have made a top 20 at the World Championships.
I'm a little surprised with the Russians at the exchange, down in 14th, 38 seconds behind, and perfect shooting. So Akimova a little slow on her skis.
Well, Tanaka's not hanging around, and I think Rina Suzuki and Sari Furaya, who take the 3rd and 4th leg for the Japanese, might start to get just a little bit nervous. Good ski speed from Stuchov, Austria, just moving into first place. I'm sure you know the ski suits by now. The one that looks like the Union Jack is actually Norway, just in second place on the left of your screen. The black is Japan. The predominantly white suit is Finland, wearing bib number 21 with Auli Kiskala. And this is the Austrian suit for this year. 2 medals for Austria yesterday in the men's individual. What a great performance from Landertinger, and what a shame that Simoneda hadn't quite got enough left, didn't have anything left for that last 4 kilometres.
What a race though, and the king of this event, of course, Fourcade, just doing his usual, managing the situation perfectly to win by 5 seconds. Birkeland, that's good skiing for Norway, pulled back already those 13 seconds. I think as expected, the athletes around her not the fastest on the track.
Well, the crowd will enjoy the fact that Norway are up the front. A group of 4, followed by another group of 4 at the front of the women's relay. This season has been particularly good, not just in the relays, but in the individual races as well. Very difficult to predict your winners. We've probably got, at the beginning of the season, Mike, we must have had 7-8 people who could have claimed the Crystal Globe come the end of the season. And even now, it's far from decided. I know Sokolova's got a decent lead, but the way Marie-Therese Bear is going, she's closing 20 to 25 points on Sokolova every race, and we've still got 4 individual races to go. It's going to be tight when we head out to Khanty-Mansiysk next week. But that is a long way off these athletes' minds at the moment. Shoot number 1, second leg. 8 shoots in all in this 4x6 kilometre relay. There's the first miss of the day for Norway. They can afford very, very few. Austria don't seem to be able to do anything wrong. Well done at Varvignette of Ukraine. She's gone 5 with 5. Kazakhstan keep their position right up there, ranked number 10 after their performances this year. They were 14th in the championships last year. And Austria, stunning performance. I wonder how much of that is due to the fact that they picked up 2 medals yesterday. Team spirit's very, very high in the Austrian camp.
Yeah, I think that has to be a part, and the Austrian team ranked 15th. They're just growing and growing in confidence, especially in the relay.
Hildebrand making good places. She's up to 5, only 12.5 seconds off the leaders. Teams who have yet to make a mistake, Mike. Synnøve of Kazakhstan going well. The Austrians have only used 1 spare round so far. Norway have only used 1. Germany have used 2. Hönisch of Poland has used 2, and the Finns still in the top 7. But it's Austria, Kazakhstan, Ukraine who lead. tracks are certainly softening here in Oslo. And that could make the going a little bit tougher for leg 3. The prediction was that the temperature would start to fall come the last leg runners, but I'm not convinced. It's been such a warm day. And about 45 degrees in the commentary box at the moment.
Synnøve at the front there, that's a good performance. She hasn't had so much success here. Best position 27 from the sprint. That's only missing one, but she's really lifted her ski pace.
Leg 2, and just coming up to the halfway point of the second leg in this women's 4x6 kilometre relay. The dead turn at the top of the climb. It's a little bit awkward. It's very, very tight. We've seen a couple of collisions here. Hildebrand going through, not looking quite as comfortable as she has done in the individual races, but she's prepared to take on the role of leading the chasing group, trying to track down the likes of Japan and Austria.
So good to see Slovenia, Grigorin there, still well in the hunt, 24 seconds behind.
And Poland, Mike, Hrnish in 6th position. They're only 9.7 off the lead. And the Polish team, despite their ranking of 7, have kept Guzik for the last leg. They needed to do that. Nowakowska on the 3rd leg. Now, she's capable of producing a brilliant performance, so certainly a Polish medal is possible.
I think it is. Nowakowska, I was just asking why our form has dropped. I know she shoots so well, but 75th in the sprint, 41st 2 days ago in the individual, missing only 2. And that's certainly what I've found out, was that it appears as if she was way overtraining last summer, so by October she was in great shape, November great shape, and she's just dropped off, wanting more and more success after the great success at the World Champs last year.
Well, Varvanets holding up the Ukrainian effort very nicely, 4th position to her. Hrnish of Poland moves up 1, ahead of Austria's Duch, who started too fast, I think, on that first lap, drops back into 6th place, but still only 7.5 seconds off. That's perhaps one spare round, no more than that. Norway back in front with Birkeland, and Birkeland, good ski from her, Mike, and the Norwegians might start to get excited. Eckhoff and Olsbu on legs 3 and 4. Now, we were lucky enough to get a ski this morning. We actually went around the Holmenkollen 50 route, but luckily it's 3 loops, so you only have to do 16 and a half. And we stopped at a couple of the tents on the way where a lot of fans are staying. It's not hundreds. There are thousands of people camping out in the woods for these championships. And we got a show around the campsite at the cost of having to consume a couple of beers. Really hospitable, very enthusiastic, all of them coming up from the south of Norway. But it's how a championship should be, Mike, and they were so knowledgeable about all the athletes.
And I think that is why it's so ingrained in the Norwegian culture. Cross-country skiing, biathlon, go out, camp in the woods and get with nature, have a good time, and absolutely enjoy watching these races, no matter who wins. They didn't care who wins, they just want to be here and absorb this atmosphere.
And they had a roe deer hanging up in their tent, and we're just taking a slice off it, a little bit like Genghis Khan.
I still feel a bit ill.
Shoot number 4. Here we go. We're getting towards the critical stage. So many teams put their weakest athlete on the 3rd leg, but the 3rd leg is so often where the race is decided. Kazakhstan on lane 1, Norway lane 2, Germany, Poland, Ukraine. Will the nerves settle? Norway, slow to get the first round away, but at least it is a hit, as is the second. Ukraine have rattled through their targets. Brilliant shooting from them. And the Austrians keep a good shooting record here. They've got all 5 down with 5 rounds. Germany go clear, and the favourites starting to put pressure on the leaders now. Good shooting from Franziska Hildebrand. Maren Hammerschmidt, the youngster in the German team, will certainly start to get a case of the butterflies now as she sees her team member charging for the line. France finally clear the 5. The Czech Republic are clear. They're another team that we should be watching out for. And Russia with, just thinking, it's Zagariko on leg number 2 for Russia, trying to make up for lost time from Akimova on leg 1. Sweden have gone clear, Mike. That's exciting for them. Magnusson and Bråsen so far. Anderson and Persson to come.
Yeah, Sweden, I think, are very much a future team. And what about Anais Bichon? She was handed over to 101 behind. She's now 23 behind and likely to pull back another 10 seconds.
So that's 4 shoots completed, Mike. 11 teams in the first 30 seconds. This is the tightest relay we've ever seen in those numbers. Ukraine and Varvignets leading the way. 27:56 on the clock as they left the range.
Still in it. Yeah, doing well.
Canada finished 4th back in France, Albeville, 2 years ago. So no real surprise to see them up with the leading group. I guess the biggest surprise is that Germany haven't broken away. The tension is building. The temperature in the Holmenkollen cauldron is rising. Have a look at those leading teams. Germany, the race favourites, have finally got themselves to the front after a slow start. Varvignets of Ukraine done superbly well to hold on to 2nd place. But Crawford in 3rd place for the Canadians. Now, the Canadians just missed out on the podium a couple of years ago in Albeville, the first World Cup that was held there. I think they could get it back.
Well, the shooting certainly in the Canadian team has been outstanding, and the pace is outstanding. The preparation when they stayed in Canmore has obviously gone so well.
Le Grand Bonnard, wasn't it? That,
you know, my brain has been
yeah.
trying to get that name. Yeah, Le Grand Bonnard.
Grand Bonnard, where the French did so badly. And the World Cup Tour, incidentally, heading back there next year. Looking forward to that one because it was a great atmosphere, very different from the German venues. Much more similar to out here in Oslo, actually. The spirit and the fact that so many of the spectators were active out on the tracks. And that's one of the other great opportunities here. There are so many fans out skiing. All the athletes are out skiing. And lots of chatting, lots of interaction out on the tracks as well.
Very much. Rosanna Crawford, this is the form of her life, or the performance of her career, to have moved forward. Since the shooting range, she was some 12 seconds behind, so passing all this traffic and now breaking away, or trying to break away.
Baudry and Cocker on legs 3 and 4 for Canada. It's great to be leading at halfway, but it's even better to be leading at the finish of a race like this, because things can go so horribly wrong in the closing stages. But I think Ransom's performance in the individual has raised the spirits of the Canadian camp, and they've suddenly started to believe that they can compete with the best.
Yeah, and there's Sarah, well, just out of sight on the right, Sarah Baudry. Well, she was at the first ever Youth Olympics 4 years ago down in Austria, so she is experienced. She's done very, very well at Junior World Championships, so maybe Canada has a chance here today.
So it's Bib 11 that leads the way into the stadium, followed by Germany with Franziska Hildebrand, who's done very well after her 2nd leg. And Germany still the hot favourites to win this one with Hammerschmidt and Dahlmeier. You feel that Dahlmeier could start 30 seconds off the lead and still win with the form she's been showing. But she will be up against Garana Bear, provided the French get back into contention. And at the moment, they're only just over 20 seconds behind. Now that margin might have grown. We'll keep an eye out for France with Anais Bescon. Must be tired from yesterday's effort in the individual.
In fact, she's only 12 seconds behind now, so she's digging deep. She's bringing France right back into it. There she is.
That's a good comeback from Bescon. Norway with Birkeland aren't out of it either. Eckhoff and Olsbu. Eckhoff, incidentally, on 2 of the races so far this week, she's produced the fastest ski time. Not the fastest overall time, except for in the sprint where she won the gold. She's missed too many targets. a little wager on how many targets, how many spare rounds Eckhoff will require?
I think we're looking around 4. I would say, I hope not. I hope she can get 5 out of 5 both times. But look, 10 teams within, what, 100 metres?
And so many of them have only missed 2 or 3 targets. The Ukrainians have yet to miss a target. And away they go on leg 3. Elena Petrushna for Ukraine. Away go Norway, Tiril Eckhoff, the golden girl of the sprint. What a fantastic personality she is. She did so much good for women's biathlon in the 2 or 3 hours after she won that gold medal. And massively popular with the fans as well. Away goes Austria. Is that the last we're going to see of the Austrians? Mike, Julia Swager now.
I think it is. I think they've done very well and they have a lot of confidence. I hope they can stay with it, but on paper you would suggest not.
Well, let's have a look at the shooting. I know the conditions are great. The flags are still, the bright sunlight, so the best light that we've had at any stage of the championships so far. Russia, bizarrely, down in 11th, having not missed a target so far. Austria have only missed 1. Slovenia have only missed 1. Kazakhstan likewise. Ukraine have hit all 20 targets so far. And Germany requiring only 2 spare rounds. I can't remember a time when the overall shooting has been so good. However, if we go down to Belarus and Switzerland, they have both been on the penalty loop, as have the Bulgarians. And Finland, something going horribly wrong for Finland on leg 2, having led the way after leg 1.
There's a little bit of, we're looking at some tactics here. This group, nobody's really wanting to take the initiative to chase Canada down. And I think Sarah can't believe the fact that she's breaking away from the top-class athletes around her.
Big climbs to come. It might have been a little overexcitement from Boudry in the first 500-600 meters.
She's very, very strong. She's a big personality. She's had a look round and thinking, oh my word, maybe I am going a little fast. But Hammerschmidt looks petrified. She said she hardly slept last night with anticipation for this race.
Yeah, there's a lot of expectation on the Germans to win medals, not just win medals, but to win gold. And so far, they only have 1 gold medal. And all 3 medals have come through the same athlete, Laura Dalmar, who incidentally takes the last leg for Germany. So they've got a tremendous finish. What we're hoping for, Mike, is for Duran Bear and Dalmar to be head-to-head for that last leg.
Oh, that would be sensational. And I'm just wondering, could things be so different today? Poland are there. We've got France back in it. We've got incredibly Kazakhstan still up the front. This is unusual. We haven't seen this in World Cup racing. So many nations up the front.
And you think if Poland are with the leaders at the exchange, do you think Guzik can keep pace with the likes of Dalmar and Duran Bear?
I think she can. You know, the survival over 2 kilometers, it's more a sprint than any of the previous races we've had here.
So Canada leading. We are past the halfway point. The first shoot's still to come on the 3rd leg. It will come in just over 700 meters time. And Boudry just taking the climb steady. She doesn't have settled it down a little. She
doesn't look over-phased by this situation. As she's at the front, she's still looking very relaxed. Very strong athlete, Sarah.
Hammerschmidt.
They're beginning to pick it up now.
Yeah, Hammerschmidt flowing nicely. Just behind her is Tiril Eckhoff, who has to make sure of the rounds. I don't think Eckhoff wants to be leading when she comes in to shoot in the standing position, Mike. And the Czech Republic starting to get excited because Lucy Chavatova is there as well. Sokolova, we didn't really see a lot of Sokolova, Mike. We ought to catch up on her performance. The Czechs have missed 3, but they came through the exchange in the top 6 teams. They were only 7 seconds down. So Sokolova doing very well to make up the ground that Yislova lost on the first leg. And of course they've got Vitkova, who's been one of the best performers of the championships, coming on the last leg. We could be in for the biggest surprise of the championships so far. That's not actually saying much. We haven't had any surprises with Martin Fourcade dominating. Gold medals going to Dalmar and Duran Bear. I guess the biggest surprise, the one that most people won't have predicted, was Tiril Eckhoff hitting 10 out of 10 in the sprint and coming through to take the gold.
I think, well, the fact she'd never, ever hit 10 out of 10 before. Yeah, it was unpredictable, but she was skiing fast.
But she's not the only top athlete.
Come on, Sarah.
Never to clear.
Canada. I would love for Canada to get 5 out of 5, keep this race sharp.
Well, that's a poor first shot from Boudry. The cheers once again correlating to the hits from the Norwegians. A miss, 2 misses from Ukraine. So Ukraine have doubled the number of targets they've missed so far. Oh, 3 misses for Ukraine. It's falling apart. France go clear. Poland go clear. Germany, the Czech Republic join them. And suddenly the cream floats to the top of the biathlon world in the women's 4x6 kilometre. France are there. Czech Republic are there, Germany are there, the host nation Norway are there. My goodness, all change at chute number 5, and Canada have fallen away. It took 2 spare rounds, but that's 12 valuable seconds given away. And Nowakowska keeps Poland hanging on by their fingernails, and Ukraine's chances, Mike, you feel, have gone. Pigdrushna on the penalty loop. And the shooting's been so good that I can't see opportunities being offered back to the Ukrainian team.
I find it unbelievable, whatever's going on with Pigdrushna. She shot so well in these championships, but lost it in that prone shoot.
France were 1 minute and 5 seconds behind at the start of the second leg. They lead the way out after the 5th shoot. Is it going to be gold again? Certainly turning into a tactical race now. The 4 leading teams have slowed the pace again, Mike.
I'm a little surprised that Tiril Eckhoff isn't going to take the initiative here, because she must have it in mind that they've got to create a gap to the French team to stand a hope on the last leg.
But if Tiril Eckhoff comes into the range first, you can almost guarantee that she will need all 3 spare rounds. If she holds the pace and she skis at 80, even 75% of what she's capable of, she massively increases her chances. And then she's got a pretty solid performer. Marte Olsbu has shown that she can cope with the pressure.
Oh, very much so. And with the spare rounds, it's a game changer. It takes the pressure off. Tiril Eckhoff, I think, doing absolutely the right thing to try and really hurt this pace.
Well, I think she's got 2 options: either stick in and rest, or go hell for leather and hope that the others go above their comfort zone trying to stay with her. I don't think the others will be threatened by Eckhoff, because her shooting standard has not been good enough. So a few developments here in Oslo. Norway suddenly find themselves in front. Tiril Eckhoff looked bored with the pace that was being set by the Czechs on this second lap of the 3rd leg. Shavativa demoted to 2nd. Hammerschmidt of Germany just 2.5 behind. The French and the Poles are all there. The only teams missing from the top, Italy, Mike, we haven't seen at all. We ought to just try and track them. They're 48 seconds behind, or they were 48 seconds behind. They might have lost more time, or are they coming back? No. They've lost even more time on the range.
Yeah,
and down in 11th position, the Italians at the moment.
And the biggest surprise, the team ranked highest so far this racing season, Pigdrushna, had complete meltdown. We haven't seen that from her before on the penalty loop, and now 56 seconds back in 13th.
Well, the French only took one leg to pull back that minute deficit. So you can't rule Italy or the Ukrainians out quite yet. But the closer you get to the finish, the harder it is, because, of course, the standard of athlete goes up dramatically when we get on to the anchor leg.
And for most teams, this is the weakest leg. And we heard Raphael Poet talking about that for the French team. And Ace Chevalier is the weakest leg out of the 4 of them. But and that's where Tiril Eckhoff, the Norwegian's, putting the strongest on leg 3. That's where she really now has to pick up the pace.
And the reason they've done that is to try and take the pressure off her for the standing shoot, which is coming up very shortly. She's only gained 5 or 6 meters over the Czech Republic, who are looking very good indeed. Shavativa will be handing over to Veronika Vitkova, who is quick. The Germans, of course, have Dalmar on the final leg, so if Hammerschmidt can hold her nerve. Now, Mike, we said that one of the 8 shoots generally goes wrong for the Germans. Nothing's gone wrong for them so far. They've only missed 2 targets.
But, well, you're leading up to this. Hammerschmidt has only got a 75% hit rate this season in the standing.
OK, so we think Eckhoff is going to miss. We think Hammerschmidt is going to miss. What about Shavativa?
Shabatova, she's only 2 years in biathlon. She's the least experienced up the front here. She's a very strong cross-country skier, and this must be a petrifying moment for her.
So Shabatova's going to miss. Chevalier of France. Now, the French generally, over the last decade, have had the best shooting record of all the teams.
Yeah, Chevalier, 83% in the pro, and even better in the stand. She's 86%. It's an indicator. But then it's a world champs and the pressure multiplies.
And don't forget, Chevalier led the way out of the range for the last time. She's lost a little bit of ground on this lap. Norway have got to pray that all the targets go down. If all 5 go down at the first time of asking, it will be a miracle.
I think we have to praise Slovenia, just out of sight, what, in 6th position, just behind Poland.
There's Hammerschmidt. Eckhoff on 1. Hammerschmidt in lane 2. France, I think France are down on lane 4. She hit 5 in the sprint to win. 2 out of 2 for Eckhoff. A miss for Hammerschmidt. A miss for France. My goodness, this is against all odds. 4 out of 4 for Tiril Eckhoff. 5 out of 5 for the 2nd time in her career. And she's done it on the biggest day, the biggest stage, in front of thousands of her own fans. Well done to Tiril Eckhoff. France finally get 5 down. Germany with Hammerschmidt are struggling, but they get them down. There will only be a margin of some 15 seconds, and it's the Czech Republic who have fallen apart. Shabatova has got 2 penalty loops to go.
I did wonder on leg 3 when the race builds to the most pressure to put your least experienced biathlete, but she has to go somewhere out in the 4, Shabatova.
Well, it's time we saw another team on the podium. It may well be Kazakhstan today. It could be Poland as well.
Canada.
And it still could be the Canadians, who've got Zina Cocker, a very experienced biathlete, taking leg number 4. Russia, how far behind are they? They're going to be over 45 at the very best, but with 2 misses from the Russians. That's Virolainen throwing those wide. Sweden, Mike, a good young shooting team. Ingela Andersson's done brilliantly. Top 5 or 6 for the Swedes would count as an excellent day.
And what about Russia? Traditionally, they've won, what, 2nd most medals at World Champs in women's biathlon, but Virolainen struggling so much, and on the penalty loop.
Yeah, they're not looking like the Olympic silver medalists, are they?
Her mum was a world champion in the relay in biathlon, but it's a terrible day for the daughter, for Daria.
So Norway, France, Germany, Kazakhstan, Poland making up the top 5. Still only 39 seconds separating those top 5 positions. The Canadians at 43. There'll be some level of excitement in the Canadian camp at the moment, and Zina Cocker has got to stay calm. But undoubtedly, the performance of the day so far, Tiril Eckhoff. We can't exaggerate enough. There are her parents. Oh, they've seen 2 miracles this week. Astonishing.
I was surprised with so many people I spoke to this morning said, no, Norway have no chance because of the poor shooting. And the great thing with the relay, it always buys you 3 extra chances, 3 spare rounds, and it takes the pressure off.
The one thing they have been saying, Mike, is that Olsbu has the right sort of mind for a biathlete. Now, we are going to find out, because she'll probably never have a situation like this in her career again, where she's got a good lead. It's not huge, but it is a good lead over France and Germany. And she's looking for Norway's 2nd gold medal of these championships. The French, of course, looking for their 6th. The Germans looking for their 2nd.
Look at the time now, 20 seconds to 2 and 3.
Yeah, 9 seconds pulled back by Tiril Eckhoff. She is storming this one. Well, what a fantastic race. We've had some brilliant relays. 4 relays so far this season in the Women's Tour. And we've had a different winner on every occasion. The Czechs winning the last one. The French have won. The Ukrainians have won.
I think we might even see Tiril Eckhoff here opening this gap. It was 19 seconds. I think she might even open it to 20 seconds.
Well, it's looking...
sorry, 30 seconds.
It's looking very good, Mike, but with Germany having Dalmar and France having Tiril, poor old Marte Olsbu has a tough job. There is the margin that she's got to try and hold on to. I think if Olsbu can hit 10 out of 10, then a win is possible.
She won't be intimidated on the skis. Olsbu is matching Tiril, she's also matching just about Dalmar, so it is on the shooting.
The leading three teams are pulling away, and the leading team, Norway, are pulling away from 2 and 3 at the moment. Eckhoff trying to take her margin up to somewhere close to 30 seconds. There is a fantastic level of excitement in the stadium here. This is just what Norway were not expecting. It's the men's relay that they really wanted to win. It's the men's relay that they expect to win. But here are their ladies leading the way after 3 legs, and Marte Olsbu is the one who has to try and hold it together. You have to feel for her.
Oh, she's going to be under huge pressure, and they haven't been better than 5th this season at the 3 World Cup relays with an 8th, a 5th and a 5th. Norway performing way above expectation.
Olsbu's shooting record, Mike, 81% in the prone, 80% in the stand. Let's have a look at Dalmar, 91 in the prone, 93 in the stand. So that could be 2-shot advantage to Germany, and that would eat up the majority of this 20-second lead that Tiril Eckhoff has built up.
I've said it before, but wouldn't you just love to have a Tiril Eckhoff in your team, because you know she's never, ever going to let you down when it comes to work rate, commitment and drive.
Yeah, I must say, I'd never realised quite what a fantastic character she is. And her victory in the sprint really opened a few eyes, and certainly I'm sure it's brought hundreds and hundreds of young Norwegians into the sport. Not that there are many who don't ski, but everyone will be into it. Into the exchange area. Norway leading the way, looking for their 2nd gold of these championships. It is now down to one young girl, Marte Olsbu, just 25 years old, from Lillehammer, which is, what, an hour and a half, an hour 45 north of here. That road, the E6, has been very busy as the traffic's made its way south to watch this race, and they have been rewarded. Norway lead, Germany coming in 2nd place, and Laura Dalmar, who has 3 medals from 3 races, trying to make it 4 out of 4. She didn't compete in the mixed relay, so I guess she's just that little bit fresher than Tiril, who has 4 medals from 4 races.
Well, this is going to be an amazing next 19 minutes. Tiril said she was tired. She's bound to be tired. She's lifted herself to an incredible place. 2 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze.
And Kazakhstan are there, waiting to pounce should one of the 3 leading teams make mistakes, and they are close enough to capitalise. 51 seconds sounds a lot, but remember, every missed shot incurs between 8 and 10 seconds, and then if you're on the penalty loop, that's another 25 seconds, so that 51 seconds can easily be eaten up. Slovenia, Poland, Ukraine, a minute 10, we usually say a minute. You have to be within a minute of the last exchange to win. Let's say a minute 20 for a podium, and the Italians aren't out of it because they have Dorothy Vera on the last leg, who is one of the quickest. She's tired, she hasn't looked her best, but maybe this relay situation, we will start to see Dorothy Vera produce something special. Norway, Germany, France, 1, 2, 3, 28 seconds now separating the podium positions. Kazakhstan in 4. There have been so many outstanding performances, Mike. It's not really fair to ask you to pick one out.
Oh, well, Kazakhstan are showing that they are a real threat. They can contest with the best. What about Slovenia? I'm so happy for Slovenia. They're regenerating with 2 young athletes and 2 veterans of the sport taking the first couple of legs. Great to see them in 5th place.
So Norway's advantage coming out of the stadium, 23 seconds, and that was a fantastic effort. Remember, Eckhoff left the range 10 seconds clear, so 13 seconds gain over 2 kilometres. It's gone from 23 to 29. Olsbu is pushing the pace, perhaps a little bit too fast.
I'm a little worried. That's quite an attack. Olsbu, we know she's fast on her skis, but she needs to be mindful that you have to just calm down into the range. Now, coaches obviously will have had a good, long, calming chat with her before this one.
Well, we had 7 teams lapped in the last World Championships. China are now going to be pulled out of the race when they come in for their final shoot. Lara Dalmar's taking it very easy at the moment. Does she think the Norwegians are going to miss too many targets, or is she saving something? It's only 6 Ks, Mike.
Well, I'm amazed. I think Dalmar, for me, is looking off form there. She's not excited about trying to chase this lead down. Maybe she just knows that her shooting will be brilliant, 5 out of 5 and fast.
Now, did Olsbu dream of leading the way after the 3rd leg? Don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. And how important is that she's now in a situation that she hasn't mentally prepared for?
I think that's all right, because they didn't expect, the best has been 5th this season, so expectations were not there. And that's what I was saying to people, well, they've got no pressure. They've got no expectations.
From 23 to 32, Olsbu has done more damage in the first 1.3K than Tiril Eckhoff did in the last 2 kilometres of the last leg.
But for me, this is not the racing Dalmar we're used to seeing. This is not the racing Dorana Bear. Or are they just being extremely intelligent? Take the first lap easy, then pick up into the second and really attack the third.
It is only 30 seconds, Mike. That is 3 spare rounds. Olsbu needs to settle now. It's vitally important that she brings the pulse down as she prepares for the prone shoot. They've been in lane 1 often enough in this race to know that there's no wind influence, there's no problem with the light, the conditions are good. It is all down to human error should she make mistakes. The King Harold, is back again. He's had a great week, hasn't he?
Princess Astrid there as well, and they must be amazed at what they're seeing right now, and they'll be hoping it lasts with Norway at the front. Joar Himle, he's done a lot for these girls from a young age. Great to see him there today supporting.
Tension does not come much greater than this, but this is when she needs the ultimate calm moment, a calm head. There's the first mistake, over to the right-hand side. 2 misses in a row would have certainly upset the Norwegians.
Oh, snatch shot at 12 o'clock. That rifle is trembling. Yes, you've got heartbeat going through the rifle. You're out of breath.
Somehow, she has to put herself into training mode. 2 rounds, 1 target. France and Germany have yet to strike. Norway have got to hope that Germany and France miss if they want the gold medal. Surely Olsbu needs 30 seconds coming into the range for the second shoot. Lara Dalmar seldom misses, working from left to right. 3 out of 3 for her. France could have shot themselves out of the gold medal, but Dalmar's coming, and she's done brilliantly. 5 out of 5, as she has done so many times in these championships. Is she looking for gold number 2?
Well, Dorana Bear is making this journey for herself for another gold more and more difficult. But she's got them down now.
She now has no option, Mike, but to try and chase down Germany. And already the margin is 10 seconds. It could be around 12, 13. Keep an eye on the clock on the bottom left-hand corner. It's exactly 12 seconds between second and third. Will Olsbu be able to open up another 10, 15 seconds on the second lap? That would be astonishing, but it might spell disaster for the final shoot. Poland, Ukraine, Italy, Kazakhstan. Still, Mike, the door is closed in terms of the medals, but with 1 shoot remaining, it is always the shoot that produces the most drama.
Without a doubt. I mean, these teams will still be thinking, the chasing teams will be thinking there is a chance. It's only, what, it's only 20 seconds up to Dorana Bear, who is unlikely to make mistakes.
You would have said that before the prone.
How did she miss 2? There was no wind influence. She had been keeping the pulse down.
Well, no, the astonishing thing is Norway have a shooting record. I did a little bit of maths before the race, Mike. I had Germany down as the fastest team, with France 30 seconds behind them, and Norway in 3rd position, 45 seconds behind. So had they all shot exactly the same scores, they would have been roughly those margins. But Norway have excelled themselves on the range today. No doubt about it. Olsbu suffering from the nerves on that first prone shoot. The first one went wide, the third went high. Now, what do the coaches tell her on this penultimate lap?
Well, we say it so many times that the last shoot of the day and the last shoot of the relay especially is the most punishing. And over the years, we've seen so many mistakes made on that final shoot.
And she's going to see the rifle of Laura Dalmeyer as she descends the hill. Dalmeyer, as you say, does not look happy. She looks hot, Mike. She looks as though she's... just looks as though she's slightly out of condition.
She said she was exhausted after the races and all the press conferences, travelling down to the city for the prize, for the medals. She's tired and she's losing more and more time.
Now, will Olsbu outski Dalmeyer on the final lap, if it comes to that?
Definitely.
Duran Bear still has a chance, looking for gold number 3.
Dalmeyer just keeping very efficient. It's as if she hasn't really opened up all her turbos. She's, I think, still keeping in control.
She looks overheated. She looks overheated. Dalmeyer definitely looks in a spot of trouble. Olsbu has been skiing like a rocket since the time she took the baton from Tiril Eckhoff.
China.
Final big climb on this lap for Norway, and this is where Olsbu needs to decide when she eases up, when she just brings that pulse rate down. Here comes Dalmeyer, who has sensed that Duran Bear is closing the gap behind her and seems to have upped the work rate. 21 seconds, so Dalmeyer losing another 5 seconds to Olsbu on this lap so far. Well, welcome back to Oslo. And if you've just joined us at the back end of perhaps the most exciting relay, not just for this season, but certainly for the last 5 years. We've had unlikely leaders all the way through the race. We still have an unlikely leader in the Norwegians, the host nation. A brilliant performance by Solemdal on the first leg. Birkeland held it together. Eckhoff was astonishing on the third leg. And Marte Olsbu, 2 misses on her first prone. She has 1 shoot remaining. 1 shoot, 5 targets between her and the gold medal. She has 20 seconds to play with, but she has the 2 best nations chasing her. France and Germany side by side as they come to the range for the final time.
It won't be in Olsbu's mind, but she will be aware that Dalmeyer is the best stand shot in biathlon, male or female, statistically, with a 93% hit rate this season. Very rarely makes mistakes.
Olsbu has an 80% hit rate. She missed 5 targets in the individual race yesterday. All 5 of them came in the standing position. In the sprint, she missed 2 out of 10.
Bad start.
If all 5 go down, it doesn't matter how many rounds she uses. This is good. So, 3 rounds, 2 targets. She can ill afford a penalty loop. I think the gold medal will go. Look 3 rounds.
Look how calm Dalmeyer is, just building the rifle position as normal.
Olsbu now needs a 50% hit rate. She has 2 rounds. The gold medal is hers. If it goes down,
yes,
it is down. And Olsbu now has to ski herself to glory with the Norwegian team, who of all the medals at these championships, this is the one they least expected. But it's not theirs quite yet, because Duran Bear shooting quicker and better than she has done all season, and she's been a fairly handy shot all the way through. The chase is on, just 60 metres separating the top 3 teams. How big a price is Olsbu going to pay now for going so fast on that first lap? Don't forget, Duran Bear really had to push on the second lap, Mike, and Dalmeyer, if anything, has been holding back.
It did seem that way. Well, Olsbu initially would have thought, this is mine, it's in the bag, but I think she needed 12, 14 seconds. She's only got 8.8.
This could go right to the line. 2,000 metres from the range to the finish line. The first 400 completed, and you can see the margins for yourself. Olsbu, round the first of the technical turns, takes it nicely, an indication that the legs are still strong. Have a look at the abdominal region, the shoulders. When you see excess movement there, it's an indication that the fatigue is setting in. There is none at the moment.
There isn't. My only fear, my only concern is that tension and fear will just tie up Olsbu. The coach is giving her the info. She's looking like she's beginning to tie up a little.
Two significant climbs on this race, Mike. This is the first of them, and then they take the circle at the top of the climb, come back down towards the stadium, under the road, and then up Gratis Bakken, which is a long, severe hill. You sort of feel Olsbu needs a 7-8 second lead at the bottom of the final climb if she's going to hold on to this one.
She's really struggling now, Patrick. She's still got this steep climb to go to the high point, then she'll get some recovery. But what about Dalmeyer? Dalmeyer is, I think, broken.
8 seconds to lead for Olsbu coming out of the range. Set your stopwatches as she goes past the coaches. It looks as though Duran Abert is coming, and she's coming fast for France. France, of course, with 5 gold medals already. There she is. The double gold medalist from last year is looking to become a triple gold medalist this year. And it's certainly less than 8 seconds, but it's still over 5 seconds. It's not over for Norway.
It's not. But this section, the French skis are running brilliantly. I think a little faster than the Olsbu, so you would expect Duran Abert to pull something back in this next 500 metres.
Well, you're absolutely right about Laura Dalmeyer. She's finished, and she didn't look comfortable on the very first lap, Mike. It looked to me, sometimes you see it with runners where they look flushed, they look hot, they look overheated, and that's usually a sign that something in the body is wrong. So well done to Dalmeyer for fighting this much. But Germany are not going to add to their gold medal tally. Marie Duran Abert, that's a fantastic style. Beautiful glide on each stride, and lots of power going down from the upper body as well. She's clawing back the seconds on the Norwegians.
I think that's very intelligent from Duran Abert. She's trying to carry as much pace down this descent, a little more so than Olsbu.
She still has 4 seconds. She still has 5 seconds. It's not over. Well done. That's a tricky little corner. You can see the softer snow that's caught so many athletes out this week. Down the fastest part of the course. Still 50, 60 metres. And now Olsbu has to rely on the fans and the coaches to get her home. This is the last severe climb. If Olsbu can have a lead of 5 seconds at the top, surely it's going to Norway. But never write off the French. And Marie Duran Abert is the best of them.
Look how steep this hill is. This hill is tough, and the toughness that the coaches have said this girl has had forever in training. She needs every bit of that now.
We need a shot of the king just to see how he's coping with the pressure. Marie Duran Abert could make herself very unpopular if she eats away at the lead. This is the first climb. There's still a little climb to come. And from 8 seconds, it's down to 4.5 seconds between Norway and France. It's the French who are gaining. And don't forget, Mike, when they go around the back of the range, they've still got a 50-metre climb, but now Duran Abert is looking to be paying for the pace she set early on.
I think she spent all her money. She's put all the cards on the table, and Duran Abert had to do that. She had to use the strategy of close this gap down quickly, but she hasn't been able to.
A little stumble from Marte Olsbu. No wonder she's tired. What is the margin? 30 metres at the most. 20,000 fans willing Marte Olsbu home. My goodness, what a performance from the Norwegian team. Solemdal, Birkeland, Eckhoff are besides themselves down in the stadium area, hoping that their woman can bring them home. Last little climb, but it's a brutal one, a steep step up behind the range. 50 metres of climbing to go. Generally, the first person round the corner onto the flat takes the win. Is that going to be the case today? I think it will be.
I think the king can have a sigh of relief now, but Duran Abert has found another impulse.
She has not given up yet. 30 metres to margin now. Olsbu may have to raise a sprint. She may have to raise a sprint. The French camp are out there. The Norwegians are out there. Don't look over your shoulder. So many races are lost with that little lapse of concentration that leads to a lapse in balance. But Marte Olsbu has held on against all the odds. Norway claiming gold number 2 for these championships on a sunny Friday afternoon. Sensational performance from Marte Olsbu. A real test of mind and body, and she's come through it with flying colours today. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm speechless.
5 medals from 5 races for Marie Duran Abert. You can't take anything away from her. Tora Berger is the only person who's got 6 from 6.
Well, Duran Abert, that's 2 gold, 2 silver, 1 bronze, and she really fought for another gold there.
And the golden girl of the German team had nothing left to give. Nothing.
Well, Olsbu was asked to dig into somewhere special, you know, and she had to do that to win this race, to take the gold, and she found that something special, even with all those shooting mistakes.
Brilliant. There's no other word for it. That was the best relay that we have seen for many, many years. Well, what a shame for Poland. They put up a tremendous fight. They were hoping that one of the leading teams would crack. None of them did. And the shooting performance is astonishing as well, Mike, particularly from Norway, who are, what, 10, 15 percentage points better than normal. Nothing Guzik could do. No opportunity arose. Tiril will... I wonder whether they'll regret taking it so easy on that first lap, Mike, because they let Olsbu get, what was she, 25 seconds clear coming in for the first shoot.
I can't understand. Nobody was wanting to take the pace on, and it gave Norway and Oslo an amazing opportunity to get back in the race.
Well, there's nothing like a home victory. The Italians will be very, very disappointed. Having won the first relay of the season, they must have thought this was their chance of gold. Certainly a better chance than they have in the men's relay. Dorothy Vera, maybe she can do it in the mass start on Sunday. She's medalled already, Dorothy Vera, but the form she showed this year, Mike, she's got a strong head, strong body. I think she can fight with Tiril and Dalmar, and of course Olsbu and Tiril Eckhoff. Don't rule them out of pulling off another surprise.
I think we have, keep being honest about it. Olsbu having to use 2 spare rounds in the throne, 2 spare rounds in the stands. Luckily there were 3 spare rounds, and it may be different in the mass start. Well, they'll be on telly all night long.
I think there are going to be a few tears shed in the next 5 minutes when they suddenly realise what they have achieved in such dramatic circumstances. But really, the key was, Mike, Synnøve Solemdal was the first to clear the first 5 targets by a good 4 or 5 seconds. It started well, it just went from good to better to best.
It did, and Solemdal, she's had serious health problems the last couple of summers. That's why she's been so much weaker. But she found something of that old self, that special element you need. She found that today.
A young Swedish team finishing 10th. The Russians will not be happy with 11th position. 2 penalty loops from them. The Czech Republic, another team who we highlighted early on, 3 penalty loops. They've still managed to get 6th, but 1:49 off the pace. Never at the races, as they say, which was a shame. But what a relay. At the halfway stage, we still had 10 teams that could have taken the win.
Very much. It's been surprising how many penalty loops. As you mentioned, 2 from Russia, 1 from Sweden, 1 from Italy, 3 from Czech Republic, and 1 from the Ukraine, which I think cost them that bronze medal.
Team 14, the Americans, started well with Susan Dunkley, although she missed 2 on the standing shoot, missed her opportunity to lead the way into the stadium. Synnøve Solemdal, delighted for her, took the first leg, took that responsibility, and it's not easy, is it, Mike, because the first leg is so different from the others, because you are racing the other 23 teams.
It's quite incredible, and most teams, as you highlighted, putting very fast, very good biathletes on the first leg. Solemdal was not the strongest in the Norwegian team, and I think they played that strategy.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you have to ski at someone else's pace. It started well for Canada. Sadly, they haven't pulled it off all the way to the line. Were they leading at halfway? I think they may well have been, with Rosanna Crawford putting in a tremendous run.
They were.
Sarah Boudry held on for a while, and then the shooting has let them down. In the end, they've done 3 penalty loops with a total of 14 missed targets. The winners today only missing 6 targets. Germany, with the best shooting score, Mike, certainly there's been either a ski issue or a fatigue issue. They've missed less targets than anyone else and still only get 3rd.
That's a big surprise, and Dalmar was exhausted out there.
Switzerland, who raced Selina Gasparin on the first leg, so they generally put their strongest skiers first. Lena Häcki on the second, Aita Gasparin third, and then Arina Kaduric just finishing it off for them. Finland, we knew would feature early on, Kaisa Mäkäräinen. Now, her team haven't done so well, but Mäkäräinen certainly making a statement. I am here to win that mass start.
I think it's going to give her a huge boost, a great confidence boost, which she needs.
Golden jackets all round for the Norwegian team.
I'm just thinking, Patrick, that when the coaches packed those jackets for the end of the race, he would have been thinking there is no chance. Everyone I spoke to this morning said there is no chance of this team winning. They did great. They did an amazing job.
Well, I hope we're still on air when the team make their way up the steps to be greeted by the King. It will be party time. Olsbu has made a name for herself here over the last 10 days, and I think she could be one of the great champions in the next couple of seasons. Birkeland on the left of your screen, wearing 12-2. Astonishing run from her. Well, there's nothing like a race where the unexpected actually materialises. And that podium, although they're the top three nations, if you take the last decade and a half, the Norwegians have been massively weakened since Tora Berger retired, and of course the days of Liv Greta Shelbrade where she could hold a whole relay team on her own. Those days are long gone, Mike, and everyone knows how fragile Eckhoff is when it comes to standing. Perhaps her standing shoot was the absolute key moment of the race.
I think it was, and that must have given Olsbu a lot of confidence, even though Olsbu using, what, 4 of the 6 spare rounds. The previous 3 athletes shot beautifully well. I love that scene now when they all ran to congratulate Olsbu, who only wanted air. She needed to recover.
Well, hardly any of the fans have moved. They want to see this medal ceremony, and why not? It's been pretty miserable over the last 10 days in terms of weather. It's been cold, misty, windy, damp, but today it's a very, very different story. Well, there are your standings. Germany, Ukraine, France in the relay scores, and only 1 point between Germany and Ukraine, so Dalmar hanging on was vitally important. That's another crystal globe the Germans will get. A little sad for the... Well, their legs are going to be tired tomorrow morning, but I think their cheeks are going to be tired. The smiling muscles will be exhausted come 10 o'clock this evening.
Can you believe Tiril Eckhoff now 2 gold medals at these championships?
Both of them.
There she is.
Thoroughly deserved. And just in case you weren't here the day after the sprint, we saw her on live television after a gold medal performance in the sprint, and we watched her interview for 15 minutes, understanding maybe 1 word in 20, but it was still captivating stuff. You can see from her smile, Eckhoff, second from left, is a fantastic ambassador for this sport. And she really has been responsible for leading this team, and that's been part of the issue, Mike. If she fails, the team fails. This week, they've got it right.
They certainly have, and I'm just thinking with these pictures now, most of Norway watching today, can you imagine the clubs all around Norway will have a lot of new applications from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all ages.
There's Solemdal on the right of your picture. World Cup winner, of course, has struggled for the last 2.5 seasons due to illness. All credit for her, and what a performance it was on the first leg.
Do you know, all those hard days for Solemdal, for all the athletes, the endless hours of training and the disappointing races, this one moment wipes all of those tough times away.
So Brezard, Bescon, and is Chevalier taking the 3rd leg, Marie Duran-Abert the 4th, and Justine Brezard, Mike, who had troubles on that first leg, will find sleep hard to get tonight. She's going to lie there just wondering if she'd cleared all 5 in the prone at the first time of asking, and everything else had been the same, France would have taken the gold. But that's what the relay is about. 8 shoots, they've all got to be good.
They've all got to be good, and you know, the coaching staff will try and take the pressure off any of the 4 athletes who had a disappointing day, because it's a team effort and you can only do what you do at that moment. If it goes wrong, you have to just analyse it, put it behind you, crack on with the next race.
Well, it's nice to see, after 5 golds, it is nice to see another team on top of the podium, but we've only now had 3 nations sharing the gold medals, Germany, France and Norway. Normally we'd see 5 or 6 by this stage of the championships, but it's not been the case this time around, and very few teams on the podium as well.
So true. We've seen in the past Ukraine with individual golds in the women's field.
Some disappointed faces. Dalmar on the left certainly knew that she played her part in getting the bronze as opposed to the gold. That's Hammerschmidt. She did well. She did very well.
I think she did extremely well. To put her into the 3rd leg where the tension is growing and growing, I thought she coped so well with that pressure. Didn't quite have the ski speed. Hasn't the race experience at all, anywhere near her other teammates.
And I think we haven't mentioned it yet. We do normally give credit to the technicians. There was no doubt that Norway skis were running well. I suspect a little bit better than the Germans who've done well. The French seem to have cracked the conditions. But today's been very different from the other days, Mike. First bit of sunshine we've had. Temperatures 4 or 5 degrees higher. That much more moisture in the snow. These are the conditions that the Holmenkollen staff know all about.
Very much so. And as you're talking about that, the Norwegian technicians, they're just, you can see them in the background. They're sliding past, testing the skis for tomorrow, wanting to make sure that on the 4th leg they've still got the fastest skis. Endless hours spent testing.
Well, there are your teams on the podium today. Tomorrow is all about the men's relay, 4 by 7.5. I hope the Norwegian men weren't watching that this afternoon. They'll be exhausted and they're meant to be resting.
Just the success here for 3 teams, but I'm thinking, looking further back to Russia, 11th position. They used to win this event regularly, right the way back to when it was first introduced in 1984. They took the first win and they won endlessly, but not anymore.